But anyways, we're moving on now into the NBA official talks, because on Christmas Day it was a big kind of commotion going on.
Big to do.
At the end of the Cavs-Warriors game, LeBron was driving in, had a pretty fair and open lane. KD comes up behind him, makes contact with the arm. There was a little contact with the ball. LeBron has a crazy expression on his face when it goes into slow-mo. There was no foul called. People thought there was a foul called. LeBron coming out saying that there should have been a call. He feels like he's reffed differently. He blasted him today, saying, "I know how I'm officiated." KD said there wasn't a foul today. Dame has been controversial against refs before. He was unhappy when they lost to the Sixers back in November. And the refs even came out and said, I believe, that there was 2 missed calls during the end of that Warriors-Cavs game as well. So the league coming out saying that the refs did a poor job officiating in that game. There's also been a ton of texts this year going against teams. You also look at the Russell Westbrook, Jonas Valanciunas thing.
That was ridiculous.
JV gets a tech for just trying to get the ball. I look at this and it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I know, Ricky, you're on the side of let's go back to 90s basketball. But
well, I mean, I said that jokingly, but I mean, there's a little bit of how I'm feeling with the NBA is because here's what I was thinking in my head. In the NFL, we recently had, a week or two ago, a game where people were criticizing the refs because of a catch-no-catch situation. However, in that situation, you can't sit there and go, these refs are horrible. You go, the rule is horrible.
Yeah.
In the NBA, it's, wow, the refs are horrible because it feels like the way that the game is, the rules of what they're said now with like the no hand check and how it is now, it feels like if we're going that way, everything should be a foul. Like there are guys where, and I'm not saying the KD LeBron thing wasn't a foul, but I feel like it gets to the fact of like, are we going to call everything? I bump into you and it's a foul.
Well, do you think it should have been a foul? The KD LeBron.
I would have to rewatch it, but I would lean towards no, only because the magnetism of the situation. However, like I said, I'd have to rewatch it.
That's bullshit. Hold on. That's something that's complete bullshit. I'm not saying that you're wrong. If you don't think it was a foul, you don't think it was a foul.
Yeah.
But the whole thing that about like, oh, it's playoff basketball, it's fourth quarter basketball. It's still basketball. You need to call the fouls when they happen. That's the whole point of fucking refs.
The thing I don't like the most is I agree with Draymond Green. I hate the 2-minute report because it's basically it's basically like, hey, let's put our refs on blast.
I think it has some accountability.
And why are we only focusing on the last 2 minutes?
And it's also not changing anything.
It doesn't change anything at the moment, but it does change the way that refs view the game overall.
Has it?
Does it? That's why we're having this conversation?
It's not like the 2-minute report's getting shorter with every single game. They still keep fucking up.
No, but every year and you can see this after last year, they went back, looked at the rules, looked at what happened from all the 2-minute reports throughout the year, and made adjustments. You see how James Harden no longer gets the every time I throw my hands near, the hoop and pull people's arms into mine, I'm getting fouls. Like, things change. It's just over time you have to watch it happen. That's the thing is the NBA, and I think it's ridiculous that you're anti like the 2-minute thing because it's awesome because, yes, as a fan, it gives you like hey, we knew we were right. The players get the same thing. Coaches get a chance to write in after every game for missed calls. Like, that's part of the rules. That's part of the agreement. So I don't think there's any problem with that. And I think it's just something over time we're going to learn to, continue to adapt the game.
Well, if we're using it for that, then my only criticism would be, why are we waiting until the end of the year? Make those changes.
Because you don't make changes during the middle of the year. You can't change the rules in the middle of the season.
No, I'm not saying change the rules, but if it's something like, hey, we should have been calling this more last year, why not be a little bit proactive and be like, yeah, well, you know what? Maybe we should be calling this now.
Or maybe we should be looking more for the calls that are consistently coming out. It's not like we're changing rules mid-season.
They do. I don't know. I'm not a ref. I can't tell you.
I just feel like there's not that change. That's what I feel. When I'm watching these games, I don't feel like there's that progression, like game to game, month to month, that they're continually to change these games or continually to make these fouls correct.
I know year over year they have. I can't say month to month if it's better or worse because the crews cover different games. I don't know every crew. I'm not like,
I'm not yelling at you.
Yeah.
You're not.
And why you're saying the 2-minute rule and why last 2 minutes is because the game is called differently throughout the entire game. You don't call the opening 5 minutes like you call the last 5 minutes. You don't, and it's, yes,
To
rules
me,
are
I
rules,
find that bullshit, though.
and you can say that, and that's fine. That's a valid opinion. But the thing at the end of the day is you have to understand that. God, I'm sorry. The thing is, it just needs to be very clear at the end of the game that the refs aren't deciding the game. As much as possible, they're trying not to be the determining factor of who wins the game. So more often than not, will swallow their whistle when it's required. They keep going to replay for things. The one thing that kills me, and I think Van Gundy nailed it, was what you can call or what you can talk about when a replay is going on. If you can go back and look at, yes, it's a ball out, but is it a foul? Is it this? Is it that? Should there be a technical? Like, there's so much more that they can improve on the process that needs to be cleared up in the coming future.
We'll break some of that down, but real quick, did you think it was a foul on LeBron?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, so
Two fouls on one play, one foul on the play before that.
So the whole thing is that is a foul. So
Yeah.
why are we relaxing this back? I know you said you need to rewatch it.
Well, and I just did, and it's like, I'm going to say this. By the rule,
it's a foul.
Should be a foul because there is a little bit of contact.
He hits him on the arm.
Yep.
Well, it's not
when
the
he's coming
arm.
over.
He hits the hand, but he does hit the arm also. The one thing I will say about Kevin Durant that I liked is, and I'm going to relate this to football even though it doesn't fucking matter, it's like for pass interference. You get a pass interference when you're not trying to locate the ball. His hand was going for the ball the entire time. He hit the ball and stayed with the ball. However, when you went for the ball, you clipped the hand. So, okay,
but
technically it should be a foul.
Like 80% of the time, guys who are going for the block, they're going for the ball. I mean, they just make contact. That's the whole point of the foul. You miss the ball, you're still adjusting the shot.
Yeah.
You're still forcing them a shot. The whole point that I'm trying to make is the fact that the refs are changing from the first 5 minutes to the last 5 minutes of the first half to the first 5 minutes of the third quarter to the first 5 minutes of the first quarter to the last 2 minutes. It's bullshit. You should be able to call a foul when a foul's happening. So if a foul's happening on LeBron James, which I thought it did happen, and there's probably missed calls throughout this whole game, but it's really centric on the last 2 minutes.
Kevin Durant would have been teched out in the first 7 minutes of the game then, because he had a second technical foul. They just swallowed the whistle on.
No, they gave it to Draymond.
And gave it to Draymond for nothing after the play. And it's just like, well, that should have been the game right there because KD's gone.
And my whole thing is that you should be reffing. You shouldn't be caring about what people are going to think about the refs. You need to be making the calls that are on the floor. If a foul happens, if a tech happens, make the fucking call because that's your job.
Well,
you're not a superstar. Hold on, you're not a superstar. You're not your own person. You're not building a brand. Refs, just make the calls. That's your job. Do your job, and don't try to make anything else happen. Take everything that's going on in front of your face and make the calls that you see.
Well, what I was going to bring up, and this kind of plays into that, the one thing I can't stand about the NBA, and I mean, you kind of get this in other leagues, but not to the extent of the NBA, where it's like you'll get players where it's like, you know what, I'm gonna give him the foul. It's like LeBron James earned the respect to get that call. Kevin Durant,
superstar call.
You kind of see it in football with
a little bit,
quarterbacks,
a little bit with like quarterbacks and stuff. That's why it's not an NBA only issue. I can't stand it. It's one of those things where you just look at it and go, call everything even, put everyone on the same kind of playing basis. I don't care if it's LeBron James or it's like Chris Dunn going to the hole. If it's a foul, it's a foul, and that's how you should call it. But, I mean, the thing that you're going at is, I mean, we're never going to get calls all the way through perfectly.
No, I'm not expecting you to. But I feel, but the whole thing is we feel that throughout the game at certain points and at certain moments, if it's a regular season game compared to a playoff game, that the reffing is changing due to the aspect and the feeling around this game.
And one of the things that changes the game the most because of that, the final 2 minutes in a basketball game seems to go on forever when we get to the playoffs. When they change and they start calling everything, it's like, come on, I'm going to miss my dinner reservations if I'm already here.
Hold on, real quick. You don't have any fucking dinner reservations.
The point is,
you eat with us. We don't make dinner reservations. We go to the same place. It's Buffalo Wild Wings.
Trying to make a point of
open.
The last 2 minutes sometimes feel like it lasts the whole entire game.
Well, they've also cut down timeouts now, too.
And if they called the game exactly the same, let's say, because we're saying call the foul if there's a foul, that means it's going to make the entire game longer. Then you have an issue like baseball where we're trying to shorten the game. Not the exact same, but you get what I'm saying. If the game goes too long, people are going to check out.
It depends on the game. I think a lot of the time it does feel bad when they're going to replay as often as they are. But I think they've, again, by decreasing the number of timeouts this year.
See, but I'd rather them go to replay to get the call right.
Yeah, but on every single play it
Yeah,
turns
no,
into
there's
that's
an
when it
extent,
goes
but
bad. Is
Yeah.
when replay is abused, it feels like the last 2 minutes are literally 25 minutes. But because they dropped the timeout cap, because they're making that better, I think I'm still as invested. It's just when they go to replay forever, it just kills me.
I agree that replay needs to. I'm fine when they need to go to replay to make the correct call.
Right.
But you have to trust your eyes at some point. But also, I think the whole thing that refs are looking at is, they look at that play. You look at LeBron driving, to the hole, and then you see KD's arm goes over, the ball moves a little bit, and then you look at LeBron's face. If the ref's looking at LeBron's face, they're probably like, all right, he's hamming it up because he's trying to get the foul call.
Flop.
So I think refs are also trying to take in everything that a guy's trying to get a foul call so he can get the extra points. So I feel like I don't want to say it's on the players as well because you're going to do whatever you can to win, but refs need to take this into consideration. I mean, the fact that KD, I know KD's got a crazy long wingspan, but the fact that KD can come across LeBron's body, trailing him about 2 feet, and somehow make contact on the ball, he deserves Defensive Player of the Year for making that play if he made it clean. I mean, there was no way that could have been clean. He makes contact easily on the left forearm before he makes even near contact with that ball.
The one thing, just so it's not like we're completely shitting on refs, is
No, fuck the refs.
The thing that I will say, benefit of the doubt, I would not want to be in that situation. I would never want to be a ref because you have to. You're expected to make the right call. You have a fraction of a second, if not less, to make a call. And if you're a person that's like, then you're not going to be a good ref. You got to be able to make that's it, stick by the call, and go to it. Where it's like and sometimes they miss things too. Not everyone's perfect. However, the point is, in my mind, what do we do to fix it? What's the solution? We can sit here and complain about a problem, but is there a solution to fix this?
Eyeglasses.
Refs are people too. None of them are the same. And again, you say just do your job, and doing their job entails so much more because that if they did something ridiculous and tossed somebody out when they didn't deserve it, they're going to hear back from that. They're going to lose out on primetime games.
The league would have been talking if Kevin Durant got tossed in that
7
game
minutes.
in the first.
That's the thing. It's like
on Christmas Day.
They have to make their calls within what they believe is the best interpretation of the rules because yes, you can call, like Ricky said, you can call fouls on everything these days, to some extent, but when something's malicious, when something's wrong, and it's a total judgment call within for the refs because no ref is ever the same. Like you're gonna have different calls here and there. I just think that you're right. There needs to be a better way to enforce it or at least standardize it to some extent. They talked about adding refs, for different vantage points instead of doing replays. Was one of the things that came up a while back. I don't know, like maybe a head ref to just judge call like they do in football. Like, hey, you saw this. Or here's what I saw, and this is where we're going to take it.
Or this is on replay a little bit. Why don't they adapt what like baseball and football have, where it's like, okay, we have the command center in New York, and they're just going
it's still
over
not
everything.
quick enough, though.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the thing.
But that's why I'm like, are we headed there at all?
That and the free time out it gives people. I don't like that.
The little microcosm in all this, the KD tech situation, it's that situation where I look at it and I go, this is the microcosm of what you get when superstars run the league. Like in the NFL, name a top corner.
Tom Brady. Oh, cornerback.
Cornerback.
I was expecting
like a top cornerback.
Jalen Ramsey.
Like if Jalen Ramsey went ahead and got a helmet-to-helmet hit, I don't care who you are, you're getting tossed from the game. Where it's like in the NBA.
That's because people are dying because of that stuff, though.
It's a little bit different because of the sport, but just go with me. Doesn't matter how high caliber the player is. If it's a technical, you're getting tossed from that game if you have to.
Unless
Where
your
in the
name
NBA,
is Draymond Green, it's a shooting motion.
Yeah, I know. But in the NBA, because the players, it's more of a superstar league rather than a league. Like the league isn't higher than the players. The players are higher than the league. You're going to get that where it's like, maybe let's not call a technical and keep it in, because then people get upset when LeBron and that sit out games.
Well,
that's why they had to change that rule.
I don't know if it's the league. I think it's more focused on individuals this game.
Yeah,
I mean, you have 11 guys on a football field where you have 5
and their faces are covered in football. I get that.
Well,
like
I
with
don't
the
know.
There's
face
so many
mask and
damn
stuff.
people in football.
I don't know about that. I'm just more talking about the fact that one guy can dominate a game. I mean,
Yeah.
you
No,
check
I
out
know.
LeBron, and
And the
that
players' union in
Cavs
the
are
NBA
fucked.
has so much more power. They did it right,
Yeah.
and that's you gotta give them credit for that. But you're right, like it's a players' league.
But people come to see the players, not like
Yeah.
you come to see your team, but it's more and more like people are coming to see Kevin Durant play, to see Steph Curry play, to see LeBron play, especially if LeBron's coming to your visiting arena.
But I think that's because of the sport. The sport allows bigger superstars.
And that's what I'm saying. If you're going to do that, you're going to have situations like that where they don't call a technical on KD because they want him to stay in the game.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I again, you're going to always get superstar calls. You try to balance out as best as possible, but circumstances are never the same, and they're going to make the judgment call at the end of the day. The thing I just love about the way they deal with it is that, like, it's never at the end of the day, like, in their hands to just completely kill a player. It's like, look, there was obviously some version of this where you fucked up. It's not like they're just like, except for the one where they like threw Tim Duncan out for laughing. They gave him the flagrant.
Well, that
two
was
on
a
the
power.
bench.
That was a power move.
That was fantastic.
And that was a regular season game too.
Yeah.
I think they were up.
Yeah, it was bad.
But I think it was also an ABC game. I don't know. That was like 12 years ago.
It's not like they're just picking people out and like, we don't have like the old school gambling NBA refs where they're like doing the point
Donahue.
margins and shit and bullshit. No, it's they're in most times they're correct. I would probably say 90% of the time, 95. Like, what is acceptable though? Like, if we're gonna argue about 3 calls in the last 2 minutes, like, what about the 85 calls in the first 46 minutes?
But
that's the question.
Yeah, and I understand where you're coming
What's
from.
acceptable?
And I think I think I'm probably going to be going against what I said earlier. But I would rather, like, if we're focusing in on minutes, I would rather you get the last 2 minutes of a game right.
Yeah, but I mean,
But the thing is
like,
that.
all right.
But then people
I'm
be
zoned
pissed off
in.
if you're calling, ticky-tack fouls.
Yeah.
Because if you're like, if a guy drives to the lane and you're reaching in and you like make contact with them, most people won't call it in the last 2 minutes because you're trying to make a play happen. And then if that happens, people will be like, all right, why are you calling that foul? So I feel like it's just been ingrained, over the past 30 years, 40 years of basketball that, we need, hard foul back, or, we need, playoff basketball. We need last 2 minutes of basketball to be,
pure.
untainted. Yeah, pure.
I would say post 2000s basketball has been, because like
No, but I'm saying this has always been a thing. Like, I'm saying, like, the last 2 minutes of basketball, you're not going to call, like, ticky-tack fouls. That's not
Or
not
basically-
90s this is anything with the
basically
80s,
in-
90s.
But like in
It's
the
just
90s,
basketball.
it would basically be like, well, we're just fucking not calling anything. Which
I mean,
is
how
how
many
the
times
game
did
was
Jordan
in
get to
general.
the foul line though?
Well, and that's the thing. That was the superstar treatment. And I'm not saying I'm a fan of that at all, because I'm not a fan of it. But the thing that I worry about is if they do change, they're like, we're going to call more fouls. I wonder if it plays into the effect of like, man, games are taking a little longer. It feels a little bit more sluggish. Because if you're constantly calling whistles, constantly getting people to the line, I watch basketball games where it's like that. And like, by the third, fourth person to get to the line, I'm like, wow, this is not basketball. Let's just have a free throw competition.
I would say, well, the old hack a Shaq, hack a everybody, where it just ruins the game for everybody.
Hack a Ben Simmons.
And final thoughts on here. When we get to the playoffs, how many series or games do you think are going to be decided by refs?
Probably like 3.
Are you worried about
I'll
that?
put the over
Let me
under at
say
3.
Let me say this. Are you worried about it? Are you
No.
worried about the
No.
refs affecting a playoff series?
No, but I'll put the over under at 3.
Usually we end up with decent refs for the playoffs. They're hand selected, so I'm probably gonna say 2-3 games will probably come down to ref calls. But at the same time, like, to me that's acceptable. Like, I'm never gonna be 100% in on this is perfect. We have the game down.
No,
everybody calls everything.
Well, everyone's going to complain about the refs.
But
That's
yeah.
going to be if
Well,
you're a
that's-
Golden
did
State.
you
If you're a
hear-
Golden State fan and you get a foul called late in the game,
I
you're
was
going to be like,
saying.
"That's bullshit." If you're
Yeah.
a Cleveland fan and
They
the
got
foul
handed
called, then
game
you-
3 and game 4 last year. Like, how didn't you guys like?
It's
Well,
everyone's
Ricky-
favorite pastime.
Well,
Yeah.
and Ricky's still going to be mad about how they were able to come
Draymond
back
Green.
because Draymond gets the tech.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it's ridiculous. The one thing I do want to mention though is I want to give credit to the guy on Reddit, but I don't know who did it, who pieced together the 2 segments of the Valanciunas Westbrook segment, where it was you heard the OKC announcers talk about it, you heard the Raptors, and each side I mean, bias exists, and each side was like, clearly it's attack on that guy. Like, what are they thinking about? How is our guy responsible? And it's just like, look, no matter who you are, you're going to have a bias. Like, I don't, there's no way to look at this as a neutral party, and the refs try to do that as best as possible.
I think there shouldn't have been a tech foul, called in that Valanciunas Russ thing in general. I don't think it was like if anyone was going to be called, it was going to be Russ.
But why Russ? Valanciunas was trying to take the ball from him, and it's not his ball. It goes to the ref.
The ball was dead.
It's a dead ball foul. It goes to the ref.
But it was the Raptors' ball.
But the ball needs to go to the ref. It's a dead ball foul.
So Valanciunas is trying to get the ball to the ref and take the ball out.
You don't take away Brody's best friend.
It's not his ball. It's the ref's ball. Valanciunas is trying to.
He was going to get up and give it to him. That's all I'm saying.
Russ was kind of throwing a pout. I'm just saying.
He touched him. He was just standing over him. This is what happens.
I don't know.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I hate when our league topic is. We've never talked about the refs before, and I think that's a.
I think we have once.
No,
I thought we did.
We've never talked about the refs.
I don't know. I don't think so.
We've never had a dedicated
the onside
segment
kick
for the refs.
we did about a year or two ago.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
we've never. Yeah. We don't care about Mark. We've never had a segment.
Mark cares about you very much, so.
Mark's going to actually be on a podcast.
A
2-hour-long fast break.
Bring him in.
Anyways, that's not true. Mark doesn't want to talk about the NBA for 2 hours.
No, he doesn't.
But that's going to wrap it up. If you guys have any thoughts on... I didn't do the housekeeping, Ricky, to start the podcast. I'm an idiot. Anyways, if you want to leave a comment about how you hate the refs, let us know in the comments below.